Big names still haven't performed. Is it time to take advantage of people overreacting? We'll talk about that and more on today's action packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Ane, and if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the bell below to subscribe to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you may listen. And if you want more out of this 30-minute podcast, please join us on Subtext. The link is in the description below. You'll get a hell of a lot more stuff out of this 30-minute out of that than this 30-minute podcast. You know, you'll be able to ask us questions. You'll get waiver wire rankings, prospect call-up alerts, and a whole bunch more. So please check us out on there. And guys, today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need and the right price you want, it's easy to bring home the big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions may apply. eBay's guaranteed fit only applies for U.S. customers. But all right, guys, we got a great episode today. I do want to give another shout out to Dom. I don't think he's going to be here probably for the rest of the week, maybe some extended period as well, dealing with that family emergency. And, it may take a little bit longer than we expect, but my prayers and everything are going out to Dom. So, with that, he shall be missed, but we have a show to do. And, we got some baseball to talk about because baseball don't stop. So today's episode is going to be surrounded on essentially who to trade for, who to trade away, and, maybe capitalize some value or, some underperformers, like I mentioned at the top of the cold open. And, we got a whole bunch of names here of different scenarios and a couple big names, but here's my philosophy, right? Like, it isn't always about okay, like you're gonna throw a whole bag of dog poo at the guy. I mean, with some of these you can, but the intentions are to even go up a tier in a player because we know what they're going to do in the end results, right? And that's really applicable for our first guy here of Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll really hasn't turned on the light yet at home. I don't feel like anybody's home in the baseball world with him, but right now he's not performing at his tip-top shape. Maybe not performing too bad, but also not performing too great. So through 44 at bats, he has 7 runs. He has a double, a bomb, 2 ribs, 3 stolen bases. He's gotten caught stealing twice. He's walked 8 times to 3 strikeouts, which is nice, but he's still batting 227 with an OPS of 664. So, the batting average is killing you. Him not, stealing more in points leagues, the caught stealing is kind of hurting you as well. In points leagues, the walk to strikeouts is actually really nice for you right now. But other than that, like in categories leagues, like him not performing in batting average or not bringing home some more dingers is not really giving you the first round hope or hype that he had. And right now isn't living up to the first round talent that you kind of pretty much staked your whole season on. So the way I'm approaching is one, I'm not trading him away. He's not a trade away guy. This is a trade for guy. I'm trying to go up a tier or two, right? Like maybe this one's a little rambunctious, but maybe float somewhat of value. Don't get me wrong, but maybe not somebody as great, right? So, like, if I can go up, I don't know, I would do this. This is just me. Ellie De La Cruz for Corbin Carroll. I would do that. It's also enticing. Ellie's performing right now, but there's still a whole bunch of unknown question marks. Whereas Corbin Carroll did it for a full season, and we know he's going to return to the mean and just do his thing. So, like, I'd make that trade. Uh, you know, even trying to go up from like an Adolis Garcia and packaging like one of these, trade high or trade away guys, and capitalize on their value, mix them in for a trading, and might be able to scoop up Corbin Carroll. You know, on top of that, he may just be unattainable too. Guys spent a first round pick, they might want to wait it out. Those are the more patient, experienced fantasy players, but you never know who's in your league or how they're freaking out. Maybe they are regretting this pick. So like you never want to rule out the fact of just being able to shoot your shot, right? So Corbin Carroll is one of those prime examples of shoot your shot, see what happens, see if you can go up a tier or two, and maybe you can walk away with Corbin Carroll and possibly have a second first round pick on your team right after you've made this trade. It never hurts to, shoot your shot. All right. We're going to move on. We're going to go with Rafael Devers next. Another trade for a player, in my opinion. Devers has a long career of being successful. And right now, he's not really performing up to par. He has 36 at bats. He has 4 runs. He has 2 doubles, 2 bombs, 3 ribs, 5 walks to 5 strikeouts, batting 194. OPS isn't atrocious, but it's not great either at 726. Um, you know, right now it's kind of ugly in the batting average category. It's kind of a little slow in the ribs category too, especially with, us being 2 weeks into the season. What's going on? What's the state of Boston too with the story pretty much done for the season and whatnot. Like Devers is definitely not looking hot and his outcome isn't looking great. So like right now you might be able to go and snag him on the cheap. Obviously, you're not going to be able to go and get him for pennies either, but you're also may not have to pay a premium and again package a lighter guy that you've either picked off waivers that's performing like we'll talk about later in this episode or might be able to just go and fit each other's needs and not have to pay the super premium where usually if he's performing as he normally would, he'd pretty much be untouchable. So, you know, Devers is somebody you might be able to go out and just acquire and where he usually wouldn't be attainable. So right now I'm going out there and I'm putting out offers and seeing if I can, wrangle in a Rafael Devers. But all right, I'm going to sneak in one more guy before this ad break, and that's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy obviously is struggling, kind of didn't like the outcome of what he was doing, you know, last season. And I was wondering, okay, is this a trend in the downward direction since we've seen a topple down in stats from home runs going from 48, which is obviously like not really something you would expect somebody to sustain, down to 32, which isn't bad, but down to 26 last year. And, the runs have been steadily declining. Um, you know, even batting average was declining from then. And now we're in this season here. Yes, he has 2 dingers and, whatnot, but he's also struck out 12 times to seven walks. He's batting 196 and OPS is 684. He has 6 runs, only 2 doubles. Like, I expect a hell of a lot more out of him. I would have thought by now he would have had at least 10 ribs. He would have at least, you know, 10, 15 runs. Like home runs are kind of okay. Like, I'm okay with that stat. But, that and the batting average should at least be 250, like 192, sub 200. Like, that's ugly. And right now, this is the perfect time to capitalize. You can upgrade a tier. You might be stuck with like a Vinny P right now who's not performing, but he will at some point. But if you can go out and try and snag Vlad and, see if they have a second first baseman on their team and maybe you're able to say, hey, listen, like here I might be able to go out and grab somebody, go up a tier and or go down in a tier in another position, but then go up a tier for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. first, and then might be able to sneak in another player depending on who you're willing to trade. It's just a matter of what the deal is, what the team construction is on there on the owner's team of Vlad and what you're able to give up. So you never know. There might be it. So I challenge you to go out and see what's on their team and see if you can make a trade happen. I definitely think that if Vlad was performing up to expectation, he'd be another one that'd be completely untouchable. But right now he might be, and you might be able to get him on a discount, not a mega discount, but a discount. And that's where I say he's worth going out and trading for. So, it's okay. Baseball is a long season, right? So it's a thought process of, okay, am I willing to take the downward turn now to have end of season production when I'm in the playoffs? And that's really all that matters, right? Is coming home with the championship. So you take the slow, first couple of weeks, and then when he starts heating up, you start winning games and then you're going to win yourself a championship. So pay the price now and, reap the benefits later. But all right, we have a bunch of great names. I have one more, trade for, and then a whole bunch of, trade away guys, and, guys like Francisco Lindor, Tyler O'Neill, Mike Trout, even. So, you want to stick around, see where my head is on them, and we'll be right back after this. Guys, we're talking policy genius. Life sometimes hits you with the unexpected. So you want to make sure your family's covered if something were to ever happen to you. But it's really tough trying to find policies that are affordable and have the right amount of coverage. That is why you need to check out Policy Genius. It's the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with financial safety net and starting today. It saves time and money so you can provide your family with financial safety. And so your life, your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come out may not come with you if you leave your job. You know, with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year with $1 million coverage. Some options offer, advance from license experience, same day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice and licensed expert support. They have no incentives to recommend one insurance over the other, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of five-star reviews on Google and, True Pilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check out insurance off of your to-do list in no time with just Policy Genius. Head over to policygenius.com/lockedonMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonMLB. And guys, we're also talking eBay Motors. Passionate drive and patience is the formula of a winning championship. So also what is keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors got you covered. With over 122 million parts, your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all your parts you need for the right price you want. It's easy to make your car MVP and bring home the wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions may apply. eBay guaranteed fit is only applicable for U.S. customers. Locked On has launched its first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you, covering 24/7 of the top stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. Also, guys, we're introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury actions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where your path to victory begins. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to new levels. Guys, you also get 2 weeks free, so you might as well check it out and see how you like it, see if it's a good fit. And I promise you, it will be. And you'll also have the leg up on your whole league, so check us out. But all right, enough self-promoting. Sorry for the long, dreadulous ad reads, but I stumbled along it. I apologize. But we got some more baseball to talk about now, and we're all here for. So let's do it. We're talking Francisco Lindor. He's another another trade for guy. I wouldn't say buy low, but man, he's right now not really doing his thing. It's kind of getting ugly. He has 45 bats, only 3 runs, one double, one home run, two ribs, caught trying to steal, 5 walks to 6 strikeouts, which that part's not bad, but he's batting .089. He has an OPS of 385. It is looking gruesome. Now, the thing is, my guy's only 30. right? And Francisco Lindor is coming off a mega season, right? Like last year, he had 108 runs, he had 31 bombs, he had 98 ribs, he had 31 stolen bases, and he batted 254. You don't go from that to this. Like, it's just not a thing, right? And another thing is, I just think something else is going on with him. And, his spring wasn't hot either, and it's just carrying over. Now, it could be just a construct of the Mets situation right now. It could just be Francisco Lindor's dealing with something personal, or it could just be, hey, he's just not loosey goosey yet. I'm trying to acquire him, but I'm trying to acquire him on the cheap. I'm trying to go up a couple tiers. I ain't just trying to go up like one or two. It's on like four, maybe five. Um, you know, I think there's a serious market out there for it. Where I can probably go and acquire him for better. He was a third round pick this year. So Lindor is somebody that you might be able to go out and say, okay, cool. Let me see what I can do here. It's interesting. I can't name a trade off the top of my head. I know I planned the show and I wrote it, and I should probably be thinking of these things, but ultimately every situation is different. Everybody's team construction is different, and also too, this is an interesting position too because he's shortstop, so it's a deep position, and sometimes teams carry more than one shortstop, and it makes you know this kind of trade a little bit easier to make because if they have multiple shortstops and you're able to kind of like angle for it and be like, yo, man, like, let me offer you, this guy who's performing and you can get a dead roster spot out essentially right now. And I have to wait on him. And you could slide this guy in your shortstop's position and, have two good everyday players right now to help you get over that hump. And then you can just take on that risk and then just play Francisco Lindor or not and just, see what happens. But I don't think that he's dead in the dumps. I'm not ready to hit like the worryometer like he wasn't on the show yesterday for a reason. So, Lindor is just, I'm concerned. He's piqued my interest, but I'm not ready to call it where like, hey, like I'm flat out just staying away from this dude just yet. So like just see if you can acquire him on the cheaper side and we'll kind of go from there. Now I mentioned Mike Trout, and I think that we need to talk about him real quick before the break. And Mike Trout is honestly having a great season. It's everything I thought he was going to do, right? But he's Mike Trout, right? He's one of the best players to ever play the game. My reason for, hey, why am I saying to trade him? Is he's been dealing with a lower back issue for a while. And right now, obviously, it's not hampering him. He's playing fantastic. So you can capitalize on him right now. And you got him cheap this year. You got him like a fifth, sixth round pick. Like Mike Trout was a discount double check. So honestly, right now, leverage it and redraft dynasty and keeper leagues. Move on from him now while he's performing. Everybody's only going to remember the good old Mike Trout and say, oh, maybe he's back. Maybe he overcome his injury. See, with back injuries, it's not a matter of if, it's when and how long. So, Mike Trout, I mean, this could be a bad move. I could be giving you really bad advice. Do not get me wrong. But Mike Trout right now can go for a really pretty penny, and you might be able to go and sneak it out and get one past the goalie. And if he gets hurt, you made the right choice. If he misses a month, you're good. You made the right choice. He only played 300 at bats last year. He only played the year before 438. The year before that, 117. I mean, the year before that was 2020. Don't count. But like he hasn't had a season over 500 at bats since 2016. And he's come close at 471 in 2018, but it's been 470, 199. 117, 438, 308. So, like, everything is pointing into a downward trend of his health. So, right now, capitalize on that. Maybe you float him out there for Corbin Carroll or for Devers or for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Francisco Lindor. He's the perfect trade away player right now to go up a whole bunch of tiers. Now, obviously, Mike Trout, one of the best players in baseball, went healthy, but how long is it going to be? I care about the playoffs, and this is the perfect early move where you can capitalize on that value. And who knows the state he's going to be after he comes back from the injury? Will it linger? Will he end up in a second IL stint? There's things that play in a factor with a guy that's consistently been hurt. So right now, do it. pull the trigger. Do it now. You know what I'm saying? A little Starsky and Hutch action. You know what I'm saying? But like, actually, wrong movie, but whatever. Ben Stiller. But Mike Trout, I think, is a trade away right now, and you can probably capitalize on that value. But guys, before that, I mentioned Tyler O'Neill, Taylor Ward, and Stephen Kwan. We got coming up right next, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do with them. So hang on real quick. Guys, we're talking FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is full swing. FanDuel is the place to bet on every game right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. And as the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I have some great bets for you. Detroit over 1.5 runs in their next game. Just bet the over on that. Twins, bet over on 2.5 in their next game. I mean, why not? I could totally see it happening. And throw a dart throw on any team in the game that's playing in a single game for a tie for total runs, tie for most hits, and the odds are pretty good. I mean, I just looked at the game between the Twins and Detroit. It's plus 850, so you might as well take that and throw a dart throw on it and see what happens, right? So what are you waiting for? Visit fanduel.com/locked on and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America #1 sports book. And guys, we're back. Sorry, I had to take a sip. But we got the last leg of the show, and I got a whole bunch of tradeaways, and with good reason. A little bit of buy low, a little bit of sell high, a little bit of, hey, is this really sustainable and going to contribute in certain formats, right? And you know what? I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit, and I'm gonna talk Stephen Kwan since I kind of segued into it, right? Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan, an interesting name, right? So Kwan has a certain set of skills, and I don't mean like Liam Neeson, right? He has a certain set of skills that are really beneficial to points leagues, but not really good for head-to-head categories or roto, in my opinion, right? So last year he finished. He was very healthy. Had 638 at bats. He had 93 runs, 36 doubles, 7 triples, only 5 bombs, only 54 ribs, 21 stolen bases, walked 70 times to 75 strikeouts, batted 268, right, with an OPS of 710. So you look at that, right? That's a really good season, right, as a whole for a baseball player. But in the categories league, like I like the runs, but that's it. And the batting average is okay. The RBIs are okay. Home runs are putrid. And stolen bases after they've enlarged the base is kind of ugly. It's not much more than the next person. 21 stolen bases aren't significant anymore, in my opinion. A lot of guys steal 15, 16, 17. And what's the difference between that and 21 at that opinion? Yeah, a couple more, sure. But doesn't put Stephen Kwan over the edge anymore for me. And you know what? It is what it is. So right now, what I'm doing is, being that he's having a nice season this year through 50 at bats, he has 12 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, 4 ribs, a stolen base, and he's batting 385. He's the perfect, slide into a deal to kind of get the deal done kind of type guy, right? Guys are missing an outfielder, and they need a little bit more of a roster stabilizer, and Kwan is looking good. You look at, you can go and you look at what his ranking is on the platform, and it's pretty nice, but it's not really impactful for head-to-head roto, or just roto in general, right? For points, he does have some serious significant value. So like, I this is more applicable to head-to-head categories leagues or roto, right? So the 36 doubles are fantastic. The triples, great. The walks, fantastic, right? But everything else, no bueno. So Kwan would be more valuable in that platform. Whereas in this, it's not going to be great. So I'd move on now while the iron's hot, and, you know, get the highest market price you humanly can for Kwan, and it would be the right move every time. You can buy low on guys I talked about yesterday, and he would be a guy I would do, right? Maybe go out there and get a Jordan Walker, or even an Evan Carter. Evan Carter would be he should have been on the show. He's not performing either. Maybe I'll add him at the end. But you know, guys like them that aren't performing well, you might be able to sneak a shot in and be like, oh, hey, look, they're not doing their thing. Here's Stephen Kwan, somebody consistent and roster stabilizer. Boom, you get the job done. Maybe not 100%. May have to sneak in a little bit something else, but it might get the job done. All right, we're going to move on. We're talking Tyler O'Neill. He's killing the ball right now. Tyler O'Neill is really loving his new landing spot. He's on Boston now, coming over from St. Louis. And through 32 at bats, he has 13 runs. He has 6 bombs, 6 ribs, a stolen base. He's batting 344. He's even only striking out 8 times to 7 walks. Like, things look good. His OPS is bananas right now at 1394. Like, obviously, this is completely unsustainable for Tyler O'Neill, right? Like, he has an OPS career average of 790. His career average batting average is 250. The last 2 years, he's batted 231 and 228. Obviously, those aren't sustainable, but the power is legit. Okay, that is one thing I can totally say is the dude has power. And he's in a better lineup, in my opinion, now than he was last year because St. Louis did not perform well, did not live up to my expectations. So he's in a better situation, especially if Rafael Devers can ever pick it back up. So trading Tyler O'Neill right now at high top market value is the perfect time to do it. Guys are dropping like flies. Go see who owns Luis Robert and see if you can go and trade Tyler O'Neill to that team and see if you can go up a tier. And I'm not naming a target. I mean, obviously, any of the guys I named earlier in the show, but see what you need improvement on and see if you can dump Tyler O'Neill on them because the other shoe will drop with him and see if you can go and scoop up somebody that's going to be able to be an everyday starter that's going to be able to last the whole season versus just a small chunk that's going to, be hot and cold for you essentially in and out of the whole season. So Tyler O'Neill right now is somebody that I'm definitely trying to move in those regards. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk Taylor Ward here. Taylor Ward, another dude performing well. Another dude that actually has a little bit of hype around him too. I mean, last year we were a little exhausted by his underwhelming performance of, not living up to the 2022 hype where he just had that incredible run and then got hurt and then wasn't able to sustain that early production. But he hasn't been able to return to that. And it looks like this season so far, he's kind of turned a corner again. Through 46 at-bats, he has 8 runs, 2 doubles, 3 bombs, 11 ribs, a stolen base. He got caught stealing ones too. The strikeouts aren't hot with 1 walk to 12 strikeouts. He's still batting 304 with an OPS at 863. Like, those numbers are good outside of the walks and strikes. Got to be careful about that. Taylor Ward could also just turn around and just go back to being what he was last year and just not great. So right now I'm willing to move on from him. He was a waiver wire pick or maybe one of the last cut, like a later pick in your draft, depending on how deep your league is. But like, he's a great move on too. You can move up. You can go get a guy that's going to be consistent, a guy that's underperforming. Like, hey, here you go. Let me see what I can do. You can make a deal happen. You can combine him with somebody else to get the job done. This is all it's about, right? Like, it's not about, oh my God, I'm just going to get and just win trades. No, it's about improving your team, even through microgism, like through a micro increase by just trading off assets that you generally don't care about. So Taylor Ward is a perfect prime example of just moving on from an asset that you generally don't care about. And I don't. I mean, I got him off waivers the other day. If I got him short stint, I lived it. I rode the wave, and now I move on and I call it a day. I'm now going to trade up and see what I can get for him. You may not get anything. Somebody may not be buying the hype or believing in Taylor Ward. There is people out there like that. There's a lot of people out there, but people are desperate right now. Injuries are kicking our butts left and right. So Taylor Ward is a person that you just want to go and say, hey, here you go. Dangle him out there, see what happens. So, yeah. All right. I was going to sneak in another guy and then maybe talk about Evan Carter, but I ran out of time. But I do want to say this. This is a great episode and an exercise for just evaluating what assets are expendable on your team. How can I, increase my team's production on a daily basis with strong starters each and every day and, kind of capitalize on value of guys I've either picked up or drafted late that are now performing early. How can I increase it and go up a couple tiers? And that's just the whole purpose of this exercise and trying to get you guys to think about this. So yeah, with that, guys, thank you. Shout out to Dom. Thank you everybody and new listeners, everydayers, Thank you for supporting the podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. I got waiver wires for you. So have a great day.